Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to do a chill, get ready with me trying new makeup. I have some new products here that I really want to test out. Really intrigued to try out these brand new Tower 28. These are their kind of illuminating cream bronzers. A lot of you had asked me to use these, so I really want to do like a natural glowy look. I am also going to use their cream blush. I've had a lot of requests to show you how I use them, so we're going to use that. I have the new Veil Soft Focus setting spray from Hourglass. Also have a skin gloss from Dominique Cosmetics. I have the Sigma Corda Rosa palette. This palette looks really pretty, and I've had some requests to use this as well. Also have this Zoeva concealer brush that I picked up from Ulta. I had some requests for that. I have the Rich Bitch Freck moisturizer that I bought. So we're just gonna hang out, do our makeup, try some new stuff. I will link everything down below. If you're new here, I would love for you to subscribe, and let's go ahead and begin. So I have you zoomed in, and I wanna go in with this Freck Rich Bitch Cactus and Vitamin C moisturizer. This is a huge component. I bought this myself. I love Freck. I want to see what else they come out with. I just love their vibe, and I love their freckle pen, obviously. This is an intense moisturizer. If you have dry skin, I think you would enjoy this, and it's not heavily fragranced. I don't even know if there's fragrance in here at all. It says cruelty-free vegan. We do not test on animals, free from parabens, alcohol. So yeah, I don't know if it has fragrance, but it doesn't smell like it to me, and I've used this quite a bit. Very light fragrance. So I'm going to apply this all over. My skin, especially like on my hands, I don't know if anybody else, is so dry. I feel like I'm dry around my mouth here too, but the back of my hands is like scaling and cracking from washing them, and I feel like I can't get enough moisture on them, so I actually might use this on the back of my hands. But I like that it's not overly fragranced, and it has a really moisturizing feel. I mean, like very moisturizing. So I definitely feel like if you have dry skin, might want to look into this. To get 3.6 ounces, this thing will last you for a long time. So for primer, I'm gonna go in with my Smashbox Oil and Shine Control, just because I'm gonna be using a more dewy foundation. I wanna use this in my T-zone to give me kind of a little bit of a smoothing effect and also keep me matte. For foundation, I'm gonna go in with one of my favorites. This is the Wet n Wild Cushion, and I like this for every day. This is the shade Natural Beige. I find this doesn't last as long as my Double Wear, but it's a lighter, more dewy foundation that doesn't break up. It does get a little bit, oily in the center of my face, so that's why I use the Smashbox primer. But I really like it for a more natural look, more glowy, glowy and hoey, as Scott Barnes would say. So I'm just going to applying this to the skin. So the coverage is, I would say, medium, which you can build it, but it's more of a natural, ooh, there's a hair gone rogue. It's more of a natural foundation, so it's not like full coverage, heavy, and you can see it's definitely got a luminous kind of glow to it, but it's very thin. Another tip, if you've been using cushion foundations and you feel like they dry out, you just flip over the little cushion. So take a pair of tweezers and flip it over, because I've done that with this one probably like 10 times, and it's almost like you have a brand new product. I think because the foundation kind of sinks to the bottom or settles. So if you feel like it's like dried out after like a couple weeks, just flip it over. Obviously you can see how dewy this is, but it's really a beautiful finish, very thin. I don't feel like it enhances my texture. Of course I do have to set it down, but if you really are looking for an affordable dewy foundation, I love this one. I've gone through a couple of them, and again, it's more for like the glowy everyday look. If you want maybe like 6 hours of wear, I have a hard time keeping foundations on my skin longer. That's why I always go for like the Dose of Colors. But for every day, if I just want a light glowy look, I will go for this. So for concealer, I'm gonna go in with my Seamless Concealer from Iconic London in beige. This is just a go-to again for a more natural look. It has a good medium coverage, but it's very thin in texture, very moisturizing. I think I actually might add some to just kind of brighten up here. And I want to use this Zoeva. This is the Concealer Perfector 146 brush. I bought this from Ulta and I had some of you asking me to demo it. Seems like it's going to be a dupe for the Pat McGrath one. So I'm just going to blend this concealer in. My friend Cheryl used this and said she really enjoyed it. It's not really meant for the forehead area, but... So I feel like this would be great for detail, like right in this inner corner and kind of bringing down the sides of the nose. And then I am going to use this as a eyeshadow base. I always use my concealer. I just don't have the need for a specific primer, but I know some people do. So this is actually pretty fluffy, which I like. I feel like if you struggle, maybe you use too much concealer, definitely try a brush like this because it forces you to use less. And it is quite fluffy. So I've tried the Hourglass one, which I found a little bit scratchy. The one that they just came out with their concealer. And then I've also tried the Mr. Perfect. It's a little tiny one from Too Faced. This is like better than both of those in my opinion. It's just more fluffy and more forgiving. So even though it's small and detailed, it's not harsh or swiping anything around. It really does have a blending factor to it. I really like this actually. You can get this at Ulta, so this is nice. Zoeva has nice brushes. So I do want to set everything down. This is so pretty, like just how glowy it is, but I know that I could not handle that. People that do this like and leave it like this, it's so beautiful for photos and just it looks so aesthetically pleasing, but for me, I'm like itching to put powder on. I'm gonna go in with my Pound Cake powder from Huda Beauty. I absolutely adore this. And I am going to, I'm not gonna bake, I'm just going to set the entire face. I'm gonna use a beauty blender. So I'm going to just stamp it all over the skin. I really enjoy a sponge to apply powder. I just feel like it doesn't lift. Sometimes if I use a brush, I feel like it lifts my foundation or it like smears it, if that makes sense. So I went ahead and did my brows off camera. I did lift the tail up a little bit and I tried to conceal the ends. I'm just kind of playing around with like the lifting the brow, but I want to go in next to the Sigma Cor de Rosa palette. This is what it looks like. I really think this is beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So I thought I would do a pretty kind of spring look with this. I'm going to start off with this shade here called Apricot. So I feel like I just want to do something pretty easy. I've been not really into eyeshadow as much recently, especially with, you know, spring and summer coming up. I just feel like less is more on the eyes. This is a nice kind of peachy tan transition. So I'm just kind of using this all over the crease as a transition. These are a little powdery in the pan. It doesn't bother me though. Very pigmented, blendable. All right, so now I wanna go into this deeper shade called Summer Song. I'm gonna use this on the outer portion of the eye. This is a beautiful shade. Wow, I love that. Beautiful, beautiful. So I think I'm gonna go in with my finger with the shade Sun Sprite. I kind of want to stick to like these just golds and oranges. Usually I would go straight for the pink. So this is what it looks like. Oh yeah. So I'm kind of just, woo, that's pretty. That's dry too, by the way. I kind of like that there's not that many shimmers in here. Well, I mean, there's some satins, but there's like 2 really metallic shades in here. And then maybe 3 satins, and then the rest are mattes, which I'm a matte girl myself, but I had to try these. So once I've applied that, I'm going back in with that, what's it called? Summer Song, beautiful shade right here. So I went ahead and did some winged liner, and I'm gonna go in with my Givenchy Disturbia mascara, and I'm gonna really coat the lashes. I love this mascara so much. For somebody that has like 0 lashes, it does a lot for them. So for lash, I'm just taking a little tiny end of an old lash I had around. So it's gonna be about half of the eye to really lift. It's kind of similar to like my fox eye video where you don't take a whole strip lash, but you only take a small kind of outer portion to really lift the eye. So it's only gonna be on the outer corner here. So while I let those dry, I want to go in with the Tower 28 Bronzinos. These are the brand new luminous bronzers. I have a hard time getting them open without nails because I have like nothing to grab onto the component. There we go. So these I'm hoping are the same formula as the cream blushes. Let me give you a close-up. This is the lighter shade, which is called West Coast. And then here is the deeper shade. It has more of a red undertone called Best Coast. Here are the swatches. Of course, they're heavy swatches. So I'm hoping they're a similar formula to the Tower 28 blushes that I can use on powder. I'm gonna go in with the lighter shade, and the way I like to use these, I wanted to demo because I had some people asking. So I use a damp sponge. I feel like there's like fuzzies all over my sponge, and I'm like, where are these coming from? So I'm going to dip my sponge into the component so you can see that I have product on my sponge, but I don't go straight into my skin because I want to make sure that I don't have too much. So I stamp it on the back of my hand and then I start applying because I want to make sure that I'm not going too crazy. And then once I feel like, okay, then I can go in and be a little bit more aggressive. So I'm using this to bronze up. Ooh. This is almost like a blush bronzer hybrid. Look at that freaking glow. I love these products. And I really am not like a cream bronzer type of person. I'm not really a cream product type of person. Tower 28 has really changed my mind, to be honest. Something about the texture, the fact that I can use it over powder, huge. So you can see I have a bunch on the back of my hand and I just use that as kind of a measure for how much I want to apply. Oh my God, this is so pretty. When I first opened the package and I saw they were luminous, I was kind of like, no, because I was like texture, but somehow they really just have such, so I feel like that gave me such a beautiful, just like dewy bronze. I'm in love with it. I want to finish off the eyes before I go into blush. And I'm trying to decide what I want to do. I think I'm going to take a little bit of this Belle of the Ball, just a tiny bit, and just apply a little bit like under my eye. So definitely have fallout with these, so just keep that in mind. I should have probably used this wet, but here we are. Okay, so I want to go on to blush, and I'm going to use the Golden Hour blush from Tower 28. I had some recommendations for you guys like in my DMs. You're like, how do you use that? I use it the same way I just did the bronzer. So I'm going to go ahead and dip my beauty blender into it, and then I just kind of pat off the back of my hand just to kind of gauge how much pigment I want, even though I like a lot of blush, so I can also just go straight in as well. But if you find that you have issues with just it being too pigmented, you know, it gets patchy. I don't notice that with this, which is crazy. And I do like to kind of just bring it over the nose. The shade is so freaking pretty. It just gives you literally that like sun-kissed golden hour look. Keep in mind, I'm using this over set powdered face, which is why I love these products. So I'm just gonna, again, bring it over the nose. I'm gonna bring some onto the forehead to really tie this in. I really cannot say more about these. They're just incredible products. So for highlighter, I wanna go in with this Dominique Cosmetics Skin Gloss. I have the shade here, Golden Dew. Here's a close-up of it, so let's swatch it. So I actually just dipped my Hourglass concealer brush in, and then I'm kind of working it on the back of my hand because I don't really know how these are gonna work. I feel like I already have such a dew from those Tower 28 products. So I'm just gonna apply this to the high points of the face. This is definitely not as emollient as the Tower 28, but kind of similar in the texture. It's just kind of like a, I mean, it's like a tacky balm. little bit more tacky, like I said, and thicker than the Tower 28. So for lips, I want to go in with this MAC Selena collection. I have this lip liner, and this is in the shade. I thought this would be pretty. I don't want to pronounce this because I suck. I will link it down below, but it's like a really pretty kind of, I would say like a mauve-y nude. So I actually want to go in with this lipstick I got from Ulta. This is Holika Holika, and the shade is, I don't even know. I'm going to have to link it down below because I can't tell, but it's just like a kind of pinky nude. Yeah, it's pretty. And then I want to go over that with this Nabla. This is the After Sex lip gloss. It's like a beautiful shimmery red. So I'm also going to add some freckles. Lastly, I want to go in to the Hourglass Veil Soft Focus Setting Spray. So this has a nice light mister, but it's not aerosol. Like you actually have to like pump it down each time. And it has a very, very, very light scent. So if you're sensitive to fragrance, I think you might enjoy this. But it's supposed to give you 24-hour wear. Also supposed to be like really dewy. So I don't know, those two things don't really go together. Usually it's either like an Urban Decay all-nighter or a dewy spray. I feel like I already look very dewy, but we're gonna try it out. Very light mister, again, barely a fragrance. I don't know if I can tell a difference just because I feel like I look crazy dewy. All right, guys, so here's my finished makeup look, and I feel like I just look so dewy and just like sun-kissed. So I wanna go over all the products, starting off with the Freck Rich Bitch Moisturizer. I really like this. As I said, it's not heavily scented. You get a ton in the bottle, and it's very moisturizing. Plays beautifully under makeup, so it's becoming one of my favorite go-tos. I really like the Zoeva brush as well. I feel like it was fluffy enough, but precise enough to really get on the kind of sides of your nose and right in here where I feel like I have a lot of darkness. And I like how fluffy it is. Again, it didn't sweep the product back and forth. It didn't scratch. It really did just airbrush and buff it out. So I do love this. My friend Cheryl raved about it, and now I can see why. The Sigma palette was really beautiful. I had no problems blending, and I love the matte shades because there's some beautiful peaches and pinks, which are kind of my go-to favorite colors. And then of course you have the two really intense shimmers in here, and then again you have some satins, but I had no problems with it. I think this is a gorgeous spring palette, especially if you like warm tones or like sunset kind of eyes. So I think this is a really great release for them. The Tower 28 bronzer, what are they called? Bronzinos. Oh my gosh, look how dewy my skin looks. Like I set my whole face with powder. These products, these along with the blushes, are so dewy and they can go over powder. So this I wouldn't wear for like long-term, long wear because it's really like an effortless, glowy, dewy, natural look. You saw as I applied it. It does work over powder, but you can feel these. So just keep that in mind. They're not super crazy, but I can feel that there's kind of like a balm on my skin. I don't notice it as much with a blush because I really am only applying it here. Whereas this bronzer I'm applying all over, but I was afraid of the shimmer in here. And I just think it gives you honestly just such a dewy, glowy look. Like this would be something that I would wear to a cookout or if I was going to the pool or the beach. It's stunning and it performed just like the blushes. And then of course I adore the blushes. I mean, look at my skin. There's nothing else I can say. These are gorgeous. If you don't want to be this dewy, obviously wear a matte foundation. Don't use the dewy, you know, bronzer, and then just use this on your cheeks. It's so pretty. And then the skin gloss from Dominique Cosmetics, very similar to the Tower 28, but a little bit more stiff, not as balmy, and really just gives you that natural kind of wet look. Now I know there's different shades in this, but I don't know how they would work out. Kind of makes me want to try this in the deepest shade, kind of like the Tower 28, but these seem a lot more sheer than the Tower 28. So overall, it just gives you that wet look. And then in terms of the Hourglass spray, I really can't tell. I'm gonna have to try it on a day when I don't have so many hydrating products on. Because I was so dewy before, I don't know if this added any glow to my skin. I do like the mister on it is very fine, and I like that it's not heavily fragranced. Like, it's barely fragranced at all. So if you're sensitive, it might be one to check out. I'm gonna have to keep using this and trying it out with different products to see if it extends the wear of my makeup or if it just really gives me that healthy glow. In terms of the lip liner, it's a little bit red for me, but for this look, I feel like it's okay because I'm going for more of that kind of sun-kissed look. But it's just a typical MAC lip liner, which they're really nice if you haven't tried them. And then I love this Holika Holika lipstick. I usually use it just in the center almost, kind of like a popsicle lip, but this is the first time I've used it all over. And then I am obsessed with these Nabla glosses. There's a nude one too that is absolutely gorgeous. So that is everything for this trying new makeup. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing just a little bit of a different spin on my channel, more hydrating products, lighter makeup, just perfect for summer, spring coming up, and more cream products, which I usually don't enjoy. So I will link everything down below. Thank you guys again so much for watching. What are your thoughts on these products? I want to see what you think. Please subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys in the next video.